On to the book, finally.
Oh, we got a book. We got a book. We got a book.
Okay, so last week we did what did we do? We did the Exorcist books where I mentioned that
Yes.
they talk about the importance of confession. Well,
Yes.
let's continue that, shall we? How to Make a
Yes.
Good Confession by
What's it
Father
about?
John Kane.
What's it about?
Oh, what's it about? Well, I tell you
Yeah.
what, it's a riveting novel. No, it's just um, it's
The
about
Endless Knot 5.
yeah. It no, it deals very much with how to make a good confession. It deals with how what's going on spiritually in people, what it feels like, and what your soul is actually going through. Father Kane, one of the things that he talks about, you see, whether you haven't gone to confession in years, or you go, very frequently. Father Kane is going to talk about what's going on with you, and for me, I go very frequently, and so he addressed some of the common pitfalls, or the pitfalls of that, what you have to avoid, because things become so commonplace, so routine. It's
Yeah.
easy to um, sort of get used to it, and not despair per se, but for things to feel routine. Like, oh
And,
well, this is how it is.
and to take it for granted. And
Take
to
it for
take your
granted. There it is.
and
That's a
to
good.
take
Yeah,
and to take your habitual sins for granted.
yeah,
Oh,
uh,
I'll never be able to get rid of this, so just.
yeah. And he talks a lot about, again, what's going on in the soul, which was very fascinating to me, because there's a certain process to the feeling of penitence, where there's sort of a huge, profound feeling in the beginning, but then after that, really, it's a gradual process of penitence. Like, your life becomes, there's a more subtle, what's the word I want to use? Penitence sort of permeates your life as you
It
get older.
becomes it becomes more penitential.
Yeah, it becomes more penitential in general. It's not like a roller coaster.
No,
It's just, and so in my short life so far, that seems to be how things are going. I'm sort of probably still in this big transitional thing, but I'm sure you can speak to this
no, I,
more.
I can't. I mean, it's not that it's not that you become more virtuous necessarily. It's just that you become less attached to certain sins, and you don't want to bother with them.
Is it fair to say penitence increases with true self knowledge? Because I think that's what about
Yes,
you're taking the
yes.
inventory of what you are, and you know what you are, and in knowing what you are, you're more penitential because your assessment is that.
You're more aware of your need for absolution. And again, I can't. It's not like I'm just so horrible. It's not like that. On a certain level, it's almost like you're just tired of it. You know what I'm saying? You're just yeah, okay. And sometimes you can harness that resisting temptation. You know, because when you're tempted, you're like, really?
Yeah,
There's there's nothing sadder than a temptation that no longer tempts. Because then you look back and you're like, gosh, what was I thinking? But
that's interesting. I
you
don't know if I have
really,
that. I don't know if I have anything that qualifies as that.
not yet.
That's a
I tell you, yeah, I certainly didn't at your age,
yeah.
but I do now, and it's well, believe me, at your age, temptation was doing well. I mean, it's doing well now in general, but I mean, these I didn't have any of my specific temptations that were really dead or dying. But
Yeah.
as I say, it comes with age because part of it, too, you confess it a lot. You also see it doesn't go anywhere. You may have had friends die. or their lives ruined because of similar, if not identical, temptations. And you get, as I say, a kind of fatigue with it. And as I say, too, you look back and you say, gosh, what was I thinking? How could I have found that tempting? Really?
Yeah.
And, and it gives you more insight into our moral frailty.
Hmm.
Because we are such weak creatures. And we gamble our souls for nothing. Just nothing at all. And why do we do it? But the problem is, if you don't attempt to lead something of a penitential life, those sorts of insights will never come to you. Instead, you try to hold on to these things as long as you can. And there's no point to it. This is one of the things that I hate to be vulgar, but it's one of the things I really hate about Viagra. I mean, if that didn't come straight from the devil, I don't know what does. Because here you've got people in their 70s and 80s, 90s, who, at a normal time, as shall we say, that portion of your being settles down somewhat with age, you should be able to get a little more clarity, a little more sanity regarding it. But with this stuff, you're able to stay as stupid as you were at 16, only what's available is far less attractive. It's the worst of both worlds. Can you imagine losing your soul over someone your own age when you're 73?
I never thought of that. That's a great point where, gosh, yeah, I think of these old people like I don't mean to transition from Viagra to Nancy Pelosi, but thinking that's a weird
more
transition.
Than Viagra to
but
make
like
her
there was
pretty,
like she was
take LSD to make her
pretty. She was trending on Twitter, and I think with all these old senators in general who just dedicate their lives to lies and corruption, and they make a home of lies and corruption. Like, I just looked up her age. She's 79. Like, what do you want anymore? Like, at what point do you say, you know what? I've had a good run. Let's get right. You know what I mean? Like,
but you can't, because the problem is the habits you develop early stay with you.
Gosh.
And that's why, I mean, you have deathbed conversions and things like that.
They stay with you if you don't have any penitence in your heart.
No. And again, I mean, there are deathbed conversions. There are all sorts of things like that. And, thank God for it. May there be many more. But for most of us, as the old saying has it, as you practice on Friday, you'll play on Saturday. I mean, just,
I don't know. Like for me personally, like the sting of mortality starts to hit you in the 30s, and it gets you. It increases your humility, and you go through a different process. Like in your 20s and earlier, it's like, oh well, I'm going to live forever, so it's a different mentality.
It does if you're smart. It does if you're humble.
Well, see. It's just
by
weird.
The way,
it's just
intelligence and humility, they go together. Someone who's not smart, who's not really smart, isn't humble. And someone who's not humble isn't really smart.
I don't know. It's just, gosh, it's so weird. I mean, you see, your hairline is growing back a little bit. You know these gray hairs are soon going to overcome your scalp.
And Phil, let me tell you something. I see the turkey waddle coming out of my double chins.
Don't say that.
I see all sorts of little things that I know in time can kill me. Give me another 10, 15, 20 years. I could well be a wreck. And in my 50s, my friends are dropping like flies. My late 50s.
That too.
Yep.
Where
I
it's
mean,
like, well, I even, like, there are some people, like, sometimes I watch, I watch certain streamers, and, some people in their 20s and 30s, they're dying. Like, this one guy just had a blood clot. Boom. Out of nowhere. He's dead.
Yeah. Well, and the truth of the matter is, this is a good season to be talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's autumn. It's the harvest season.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. We always think of the beautiful leaves in New England and elsewhere as the epitome of autumn, and they are beautiful, hypnotically so. But they're dying.
Yeah.
Their most beautiful time is when they're dying. There's a parable there.
That's interesting.
There's a parable there. And then the evergreens, of course, sort of stand out amongst the deciduous trees because they're green and stuff. But and then, of course, they guide us to Christmas and winter. But,
yeah.
It's the harvest season. And it's not just this year's harvest season. The older you get, I mean, it often occurs to me that, in a sense, your 30s are a bit like July. Your 40s are a bit like August. Your 50s are like September. Your 60s are like October. Your 70s like November, and your 80s are like December. If you make it into your 90s, Happy New Year, everybody.
Okay.
But it really does strike me that way. And, next year I'm turning 60, getting ready to leave September for October. And if...
Your favorite month.
Yes, it is my favorite month. And November. It's hard for me to choose between the two.
Okay, well, the best is coming up in any case.
Yeah. And I hope, if nothing else, I'm as attractive in my own October as New England is in its. Yeah, fond hope. I don't want to bet on it,
though. Okay, well, let me do a little bit more with this book. Just some of the... at the end, it does all these really sharp questions to help with your examination of conscience. And this is worth the price of the book alone, some of these questions. Do I rely on myself? Do I rely solely on myself and not on God? Do I neglect my duties as a creature to my Creator? Did I fail to profess or defend the faith when required to do so? Let's get some better ones here. Here's a serious one for trads. Have I destroyed or lessened the faith of others by speaking contemptuously about religion, the church, priests, and so forth? Just speaking contemptuously. Do I omit my religious exercises or put them off for no good reason?
Uh-oh. Dun.
Do I fail to wish my neighbor all the good things that I wish for myself? Do I deliberately harbor unkind and revengeful thoughts about others? Have I attributed bad motives to others when I could not be certain of their motives?
Oh, no.
Ooh.
No. No, not us. Get that horrible book away.
Am I rude, impolite, or inconsiderate? Do I ridicule others?
He's accusing me.
Yeah, sorry. Here's a great one. Do I habitually look for flaws and point them out to others?
No, it's good constructive criticism.
Do I complain?
Never. Do I lie?
Oh man, let's see. Is that it? Have I discussed or listened to discussions of others' faults?
Ooh.
Have I criticized anyone uncharitably?
No.
Have I minimized or explained away my failures?
Never. No.
Here's an interesting one.
How can you minimize or explain away what doesn't exist? I haven't minimized or explained away the unicorn in the garden either.
Wow. And for the last one, am I touchy and hypersensitive?
Oh, no, not me. No, I'm not. How do you say these things? You see, obviously he was right. This is character assassination. He mounted a personal attack on me. And now you're peddling this.
See,
everyone's going to read that and say, oh, it's for Charles.
That's how everyone should feel. Everyone should feel basically assaulted right now if they're honest with themselves.
No. You're assaulting me personally. Everyone's going to pick that book up, even if they've never heard of me, and said, oh, that's Charles Coulombe he's talking about. See, I know what your game is. See, it's not bad enough. You reduced me to servitude. Now you humiliate me publicly.
Well, see, you're using
by accusing me of all these sins which I couldn't possibly have anything to do with.
It's called mortification. It's participating in the sorrowful mysteries.
Oh boy, you are holy.